All right, it looks like we are go. Wait a minute. Is this on low latency? Ah, it's on normal latency. I forgot to set it. I forgot to set it. I forgot to set it. My bad, everyone. But let's go ahead and get started regardless. I'll still respond to what you guys are saying. Yo, peoples! Qushu92 here. Welcome back to more Sakamoto Days, where we get to see how the fight with Shin versus Tanabata continues on. So, let's begin with, because in the last chapter, we had Tanabata fighting Shin, Shin having to find a way to, beat Tanabata's, unique style of fighting, which is using sound to, harm his opponents, getting to the point where he's capable of releasing chords that can blow people away from him. And then get to the point where his sound is so powerful it can stop a subway train from even touching him. A high speed rolling up subway car that just gets close and he just strikes a chord using the help of an amplifier, and it essentially just blows up the front of the train and stops it in its tracks like it just hit a thick wall and with no hope of ever getting through it. So let's see what happens after this moment in Days 261 Wildcard. And we have some more JAA agents being punched and beaten up by Boiled and Kendaka, and they notice something. And then we get Heisuke and Kamihate, who we haven't seen in a minute. What was that sound? And even Nagumo, who's, stitching himself up and, repairing and bandaging himself after his fight with Oki. Everyone notices this sound. That sound, it's Tanabata. Shishiba! And then Nagumo is looking at Shishiba, who's just chilling up there with him now. Mind you, how long has it been since Shishiba was being taken care of by Mr. Yotsumura, and he's already chilling with Nagumo as if he wasn't in just a major fight? Shishiba! And mind you, I watched the Sakamoto Days English dub, and knowing that Keith Silverstein is the voice of Shishiba, me giving him this French voice, it's not entirely necessary. It is not entirely necessary at all. But I'm gonna keep with it so I could it's consistent, because when it comes to Keith Silverstein, he has a certain gravitas to his voice. And the way with Shishiba carrying himself within the episodes, it was like he was just tired. He was like, things are about to get way more interesting for us, Osaragi. That's Shishiba's voice in the English dub, and it's very good because Keith Silverstein is a wonderful voice actor. But I'm gonna keep with the French accent simply because it's what I started with. Oh no, Nagumo goes, that sound, it's Tanabata. Shishiba! We're both still alive somehow. Yeah. You done here too? Yup. And he's still thinking about his fight with Oki. The order's pretty much done, huh? Uh-huh. Oh, wait, not true. Me, you, Osaragi, Kamihate, Mr. Yotsumura. All right, and Kendaka woke up too. Just a lot of reshuffling. Is Tanabata tough? He's an unknown quantity, but one time Mr. Oki said. And we have Oki speaking to Shishiba in the past. If we're anticipating a battle with X, we need to be prepared for every kind of attack. Magnetism, electricity, fire, hypnosis, you name it. We need a wild card who can counter any weapon, any skill. And that's Tanabata. Okay. Right. His attacks work on any human. Huh. So what? That cuts both ways. You can also clobber any human to death. I'll handle Tanabata if it comes down to it. We'll see. What? We have one too. A wild card Mr. Oki didn't anticipate. And we're right here with Shin, who is bracing himself and shielding himself as Tanabata is using his amplifier to basically create dome-shaped sound wave craters everywhere he's going. He's strumming, and he's just basically destroying the ground underneath him with just the force of the sound he's making with his guitar.
Right in the middle of the city. This guy's heartless. Darn it.
And while Shin is skidding right past a van, he smashes it open, gets inside, and speeds the car forward, and then launches the car directly at Tanabata, who strums on his guitar and slices it into pieces. What? I'm sorry, when did this dude's sound turn into Sukuna slashes? Hold on! He just strums a chord using his amplifier and foot pedal, and he slices the truck in half.
Sounds are air vibrations. Change the chord and you can create any shape. So the possibilities are endless. Right, because I have perfect pitch. So freaking what? You probably can't hear it. Stabbing, slashing, smashing, they all sound different. By reproducing the exact sound, I can reproduce the phenomenon itself.
And Tanabata steps forward, and he's behind Shin all of a sudden, flying through the air with his amplifier and foot pedal.
Uh-oh.
And he hits Shin full force. With the way these domes are looking, it's like Kuma's Urusisishoku. He's literally that. And Shin got hit full force by this bubble.
Ugh.
Lucky you. The last thing you get to hear is my sound.
This guy's tough. How would Mr. Sakamoto take this guy out?
And he thinks of Sakamoto, and then stops himself from falling back fully. And this kind of catches Tanabata's attention.
No, wrong question. Mr. Sakamoto and I have different abilities. I should be thinking about how I would take him out.
And he's just immediately thinking of how to fight Tanabata. Basically having a Sherlock Holmes, how am I going to plan this out moment.
That chord. Here comes that slashing attack again.
And he realizes that the sound Tanabata is making corresponds to the specific attack he's about to use. Let me see what people are saying. I at least want to say hi. Hold on. This can be so annoying when I'm trying to get this set up. There we go. Good to see you, Hybrid and Axemad. Welcome, welcome.
That chord. Here comes that slashing attack again.
And Tanabata strums and slices an entire truck and its trailer in half. And then when Shin is moving, he spins himself around in order to put himself towards Tanabata. He's anticipating my sounds. It's that clairvoyance nonsense. But so what? Even if he can see a fraction of a second into the future, he can't escape my attack range. And Shin is just running straight towards Tanabata, full force. And then launches towards Tanabata, but grabs his guitar to keep him from openly strumming it. But Tanabata still strums it, and Shin's sleeve on his jacket gets torn, but his arm is still intact.
He muted my sound, son of a... If the volume's too loud, I just gotta preempt it.
And it shows Shin holding on even tighter to Tanabata's guitar. Also, the drawing style changes here. Yeah, the drawing style changes here too. It becomes almost sketch-like. And he proceeds to kick Tanabata in the face. And it shows blood on Tanabata's guitar.
Just now, that's why he grabbed it. I thought the order was supposed to be tough.
And not me forgetting that Tanabata's guitar is also a gun. I completely forgot that his guitar was also a gun. And he aims it at Shin and tries to shoot him. And when it shows the bullet directly in front of Shin's eye, Shin just sidesteps it and dodges it completely. And it takes out a good chunk of a building right behind him.
I can see your future.
And he proceeds to one-shot Tanabata. Well, not one-shot him, but he does the wait a minute. Shin does the same. He hits Tanabata square in his chest. And this is when we see Tanabata draw even more blood. Because the first time Shin landed a very good hit on Tanabata's face when they went straight through the billboard, we saw a little blood. But here, Shin is hitting Tanabata full force with enough strength to draw a lot of blood from him. Like, just straight up gut punch.
If I can take you down, then I'll be on par with the Order.
And that's the end of the chapter. I need a drink. But yeah, Shin just basically bodies Tanabata. Now, mind you, he says, if I can take you down, then I'll be on par with the Order. And this is something that Tanabata was not anticipating. Because Tanabata shot him. Tried to shoot him. Shin dodged it and went, I can see your future, and blitzes Tanabata. And Tanabata is looking like, what? Impossible. And then Shin says, if I can take you down, I'll be on par with the Order. So, the thing that comes from this chapter, and this reaction isn't going to be as long as my One Piece one, because those tend to be like an hour or so. After Tanabata strummed his chord on his amplifier, everyone who's still fighting, or who's still active, heard it. You know, Boiled, Kendaka, Kamihate, Heisuke, Nagumo, and even Shishiba. And the fact that Shishiba is already up and about already, you'd think he'd be, sitting down resting, but that dude's recovery speed is fast because he just beat Gozu not too long ago. It was literally the chapter before the last one. It wasn't that long ago when he fought Gozu, so he's already on his feet ready for the next round. Mind you, he has a little blood on the side of his face and a scar on his chin, but that's been there. But he's got blood and scuffs, but that's it. He's active, he's up, so Shishiba's ready for round whoever wants to throw hands. And there shouldn't really be anybody, because basically everyone except Tanabata is already either dead or incapacitated. And Tanabata, in this chapter, gets bodied by Shin, which in a way that is akin to Kipe being embodied by Tenkyu and Seba. Mind you, Tanabata doesn't get hit in his neck and get knocked out momentarily, but he does get blitzed in a way where he did not see it coming, and he can't understand how it was possible for someone to hit him like that. The same way Kipe was looking kind of bewildered when he got hit beforehand. But the thing about Tanabata is Nagumo's wondering if Tanabata's tough, and Shishiba says he's an unknown quantity. But one time, Mr. Oki said, if we're anticipating a battle with X, we need to be prepared for every kind of attack. Magnetism, electricity, fire, hypnosis, you name it. We need a wild card who can counter any weapon, any skill. And that's apparently Tanabata. Tanabata is meant to be the jack of all trades, counter to everything the Order faces. So it doesn't matter who he's sent up against, he has a counter against it. Right, his attacks work on any human. And then Shishiba says, so what? That cuts both ways. You can also clobber any human to death. I'll handle Tanabata if it comes down to it. The confidence in Shishiba. We'll see. And the thing is, Nagumo's all like, we'll see, because he already knows that the one who's fighting Tanabata right now is Shin. So it's all like, we'll see if you even get a chance to fight Tanabata, because Shin's on the case right now. And then we see Tanabata in a very detailed panel showing the implosion of this section of the road and some buildings where this giant concussive sound wave is emanating from Tanabata, and it is literally start to push in and destroy buildings from the force of it as well, and even, push in the street as well. just pushing it into the ground. And we just see Shin use a card to throw it at Tanabata, and we find out that not only can Tanabata create spherical sound waves in order to repel everything around him, like an almighty push or Urasusushoku, but he can also create sounds that can slice things in two, because the same van that was thrown at him, that was launched at him by Shin, gets sliced straight down the middle, saying that sounds are air vibrations. Change the chord and you can create any shape. So depending on the sound he strums, it can create concussive forces or cutting forces that he can use just by playing, which is crazy when you think about it. And while they're talking, he proceeds to hit Shin with a full force shockwave. And he's thinking like, what would Mr. Sakamoto do? And then he thinks like, no, we're two different people. What would I do in this situation? And he dodges a slash from Tanabata and then bum rushes him and grabs hold of all of his strings on his guitar. Mind you, Tanabata starts strumming real fast in order to cause the sound waves to do a little damage to his arm, but it really doesn't do anything to his arm. It just shatters and tears apart the sleeve on his jacket, but the sound is muted, so it really doesn't do anything to Shin as a whole. But Shin, it does do something to his hands where it causes his hand to bleed onto his guitar, and then Shin proceeds to kick him in the face and knock him away. And then when he's all like, so that's why he grabbed it, to put blood on my guitar. And then he tries to take aim at Shin, and then Shin dodges this and it says, I can see your future, and then just hits him square in the chest. Now, mind you, from the way this panel looks, it looks like he's hitting Tanabata square in the face, because we see like Tanabata's like white shirt, but we don't see the hit actually going to his chest. It could be going to his chest. I think it's going to his chest because we don't see his fist up here in the last panel where we see Tanabata spewing out any blood. But he pretty much hit him square in the chest with enough force to cause him to bleed out, saying, if I can take you down, then I'll be on par with the Order. And the thing wasn't that one of Shin's goals was to join the Order at the beginning of the series? And now here he is fighting someone who is on the Order and thinking, if I can beat you, then I'll be on par with the Order. Because being on the Order is no longer a goal of his, but being at a level of strength where he can contend with someone from the Order, that is definitely a goal. And I like that Shin is actually taking this moment to really think of what he can do in this situation, rather than trying to hope that what would Sakamoto do in this situation. He's actually taken this moment to think of what he would do in this situation. And I think that's some very good character development for Shin that he's been developing ever since the JCC entrance exam, when they had to play that one particular game where they had like the tags on the back of their clothes, and he was on the opposite team of Sakamoto, and even though Sakamoto wanted to help him, Shin was all like, yeah, we're enemies now, I don't know, I need to figure this out on my own. Ever since then, Shin has been slowly getting to a point where he no longer needs to really rely on Sakamoto to help solve these problems because he wasn't strong enough. Now he's gotten to the point where he's strong enough where he's now thinking for himself, what would I do in this situation? And that's been a long time coming, because I can't actually remember what chapter it was when he said, I don't need your help, Sakamoto, I want to figure this out for myself so I don't always have to rely on you. But ever since those chapters, now we reached a point where he's thinking, okay, fully thinking for himself, what will I do? And I think that is some great character development for Shin. And overall, this was a fun chapter to read, especially with all the attacks that Tanabata was using with sound, and the fact that Shin is getting, I want to say, way more used to using his own ability to basically see into the future a little bit, where it doesn't leave any lasting drawbacks during this fight. I think that shows just how far Shin has come ever since we saw him first start to awaken this ability, and how much harm it did to him the first time he tried it. I think this is good character development for Shin. Now, the question is, are we going on break after this? Because I feel like they did some changes to the Viz, and it doesn't necessarily show when the next chapter is about to show up here. So it could be that we might be going on break for Sakamoto Days. I could be wrong, but that's just the way it seems. But overall, I did enjoy myself with this chapter. And that's going to do it for my last reaction for today. I'm going to get myself something to eat, and then I'll react to the newest episode of One Piece, and then I'm going to call it a day and just rest. Just seriously rest. But other than that, I had a wonderful time. To everyone who tuned in here to listen to my reaction of Sakamoto Days, all I can say to you is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Even check out my membership or Patreon because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. Have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!